Hi, everybody. Rick DiClemente with Star Self Astrology Unplugged. Welcome tonight. Tonight we'll be talking about Neptune and Pluto. Specifically, there's so much going on. Before I get into it too much, this is about show number 170 something. I'm not sure. Anyway, Greg Keene, the Reverend Greg Keene, medium from Lily Dale, will be joining us as he does every 6 months. He will be joining us for the entire show on June 11th. June 11th, Thursday night, 8 o'clock. Greg Keene will be yours, and I will just be your host, and you can get readings from him. Excuse me. Tonight, a lot of things are happening. I do have a special ending for you coming up later. I'm going to talk about Pluto, but I decided to preempt that with some talk about Neptune because people have no idea how powerful Neptune is now. And it's because it's in Trump's chart. And they want to keep arguing with me that Trump's chart doesn't affect us. Yes, it does. What happens to Trump's chart? The guy's telling you one day to swallow poison, then the next week he's taking these questionable drugs. There's all kind of stuff going on. It's all because of Neptune. Neptune's very hard to, hi Judy. Neptune's very hard to discuss, very complicated. All right, now, would you say it's fair to say that the whole world's in a fog? That's the Neptune fog. I've talked a lot about it, and I could talk a lot more, but tonight's about Pluto. I'm going to say a few things about Neptune. Neptune is not complicated. I mean, it's extremely complicated, but it comes down to its solution is one thing. One thing. One thing. Are you going to love each other? It's that simple. You're going to love each other and include everybody, or look what we got. Look what we got since we don't do it. That's about all I'm saying about Neptune. I want to mention to you the marvelous book by, who was Arroyo's partner, wrote the Neptune book? Liz Green. Liz Green wrote a wonderful book called Neptune. And it's probably 20 years old by now, but it's very heavy on redemption, and it's very heavy on the Neptune side, which is glamour. Many people that have strong Neptunes in their chart are into photography, they're into makeup, they're into theater, they're into anything that's not real. It looks like it's real, but it's not real. And the reason for it is Neptune pushes us away from the physical and the mundane. That's why so many people, if you interviewed people that work in Las Vegas, half of them would have very strong Neptunes in their chart. Okay, and that's because we're getting it misunderstood. What Neptune's trying to do is to get us to come out of our separation and back towards the oneness. But most people can't think at that level yet. But it's coming on fast. We're really changing fast. This is incredibly powerful what's going on now. And I'm not just talking about the virus. But anyhow, Neptune is, get him. Okay, now, what I want to talk to you about is Pluto mainly, and Neptune's leading into it. The Pluto, the fact that we're under this 23, from 2008 to 2023 time period of Pluto through Capricorn, we're about 15 years, we're about 12 years into it. And then the Pluto return starts in 2023. The Pluto return does not start in 2023. We're already in it. That's what you got to start to think. And you have the creative license as an astrologer to combine both periods. So I just realized that last night. This long 23-year period of Pluto going through, 15-year period, going through Capricorn, it's now about 26. In this coming 15-year period when Pluto returns and goes on into Aquarius, you may as well put it all together. One big long Pluto time. And that's what we're in. Because you see the Pluto with the destruction of systems, with the unreliability of systems falling down. You also see the Pluto return happening, which is you're being tested to see have you been using or abusing your energy. The destruction of the old, the Pluto return in the United States chart, all of this is happening at once. Then you throw in your Neptune, and then you throw in your Eris. Neptune's what's causing the virus. But when you throw Eris into it, you have this humongous epical change happening now. It's a huge epical change. So I thought tonight what would be good, and Liza and I put our heads together on this subject. We're in this Pluto time, and when you're in a Pluto time, you're in it while you're still entering it. You're in the middle of it while you're still entering it. You don't think about it in terms of what day is this thing starting? How long is it going to go on? We're in this thing, okay? And it's death of the old and hopefully rebuilding. Would you get in? Oh, he's, okay. Anyhow, so I want to talk about what Pluto is going to do to each of your sun signs, okay? And what is Pluto, what is it best for you to do to get through the Pluto time? Again, what is it going to do to each of your sun signs? And what's the best way for you to deal with it as we get on through it? And I've told you before in many, many episodes, Pluto has 4 stages. The first stage is denial. Oh, nothing's happening. Well, we all know we're past that. The second stage of Pluto, whether it's individual transits or collective transits, the second stage is we're up to our ears and we better do something about it. And you're not seeing any light at the end of the tunnel. That's what we're in, and that's very difficult. Stage 3, which is second and third stages, blend together and they go off and on. Third stage is I'm starting to see some light at the end of the tunnel, and it's because I've been doing some of the work. And what is the work? The work is letting go. Thank you, by the way. The work is letting go of the junk. The more you let go, the more you see light. You let go, you start to see it's going to start to work. Stage 4, we're far from. Stage 4 is you're new and you're powerful and you're encountering all the power of Pluto and you've owned it. So we're really far from stage 4. We're directly right smack dab in stage 2. So I want to go through it by sun signs because I don't have the liberty to go through each of your charts. Okay, so we're going to talk about what is Pluto doing to Aries people, etc. Go through the zodiac, and then I'll go back through it again and talk about how best to deal with it. Okay, you're in Aries. You'll start to get the hang of this. Pluto going through Aries. The Aries people are going to have some difficulty, but I'm not sure how much. I think the signs that are going to have the most difficulty with Pluto are going to be the Tauruses and the Cancers. Okay, here's the trouble with Aries. Aries is used to going from A to Z. Why can't I go from A to Z? I'm going to go from A to Z. Well, you're not going to go from A to Z if the drugstore's shut down. And you're not going to go to A to Z if you've got to stop and put a mask on. You're not going to go to A to Z if this institution's no longer there. You can't mail a letter if there's no post office, etc., etc., etc. So Aries is going to have its style cramped, but I don't think it's going to have a really hard time because Aries is the trailblazer. They're going to go down this trail. Oh, nothing there. Go down this trail. Nothing there. They're going to get their machete out and they're going to carve a new one. It's that simple. You may not be thrilled with where they go, but it's the act that counts with Aries. It's not where they're taking you to. It's the act of trailblazing. So they're going to keep on moving. I don't think they're going to have it too tough. I think the Taurus and Cancers are going to have it the hardest. Thank you, Liza. Okay. The Tauruses, who moved my cheese? Where'd my couch go? Where's my house at? Where's my normal waitress at this normal Thursday night restaurant I go to? They're going to really have a tough time to the degree that they're not up for change. So the trouble with Taurus is their power. Their power is their persistence, and the trouble is their persistence. So Taurus people want to be anchored, but how are you going to be anchored if everything you're anchored in is starting to break up? So you're going to really have to teach yourself some flexibility. And you're not going to be able during this time, and I'm saying the next 10 years, you're not going to be able to anchor into anything except for the only thing that's anchorable, yourself. You have to anchor into your own spiritual center, because that's the only thing that I'm aware of that's constant. Right, Sigmund? Right. You got to know that on my show. I could put anyone on a spot at any time. It's my prerogative. Now, Geminis, I don't think Gemini is going to have too hard of a time because Gemini lives so close all the time to isn't that interesting? So whatever's happening is kind of interesting. What did Trump say about this new thought? He was talking about put the blue light special in your veins. He was talking about taking these drugs, and he was looking over for verification from the other doctor and saying, well, this is just interesting. It's just interesting. Somebody dying is interesting. Somebody being born is interesting. So I don't think that Gemini is going to have it too tough. They're going to have their chaos like the rest of us, but they're very, very adaptable. If anything, they're too adaptable. So I don't think that's going to be the case with Gemini. Cancer is going to have it tough because Cancer wants to anchor like Taurus does into somewhere safe. And the trouble with Cancer and the sign, the archetype of Cancer, is they think that safety is with them and the family. Safety is not the family. Safety can only be in the self. And the sign of Cancer is not ready for that yet. It's not like the final signs of the zodiac. Cancer finds its salvation, its protection by buffering it with the family. A lot of times what happens to Cancers is Cancers have that taken away from them, not because of cruelty, but because there's a different, finer self inside that knows that they can get past it, that knows they don't have to be dependent upon the family. So it can put Cancers through quite rigorous changes because of that. But anyhow, if they're strong, Cancer's a tenacious sign, boy. It's tough. Strong. So if they can get past the over-dependency to the family, if they can get past that and find their own core, they can be unbeatable. This is the challenge that America's going through because we are Cancerian. Leo. Leo, I think, is going to do okay, but they're going to have some difficulties too. What is Leo's thing is about expressing itself, getting itself heard. But there's really no end to Leo. There's no end that they're looking for. What Leo's looking for when they express themselves is respect. I've been forgetting that word lately. That's the word you use with Leo. Leo is about one word, and it's respect. I nursed this one guy 5 years trying to get divorced from this woman, and they just went round and round and round. He kept trying and trying. You've all seen this. They're trying to break up. I'm going to try. I'm going to try to do better. Oh, but I'm going to hang in. Oh, but I haven't tried this. You know, and you're just sitting there going, ah. And one day I told him, she doesn't respect you. And he went, boy, that's it. Final straw. That's it. You're right. That's what's missing. And from that day on, he went his way, she went hers, and they eventually divorced. But that was the cracking point. So you can see that respect is so critical to Leo, even when they haven't done the work to deserve it. I shoot straight on this show. Even when they don't deserve it, they believe that they demand that they get it. And I'm not sure I'm going to give you any. So the Leos are not contingent upon society staying together or what form society stays. Leos are more absorbed into, I express myself and I've got an audience for it. And it helps me become more self-assured. So it's more of an individual thing. Like I said in the first half of the zodiac. Self-sustaining. Self-reflective. Okay, now, as always, the mess always ends up in the hands of the earth signs. Who gets the mess when it's all over and the party's over? The Tauruses, the Virgos, and the Capricorns. We inherit the mess. Ha, Marcia. Ha, Sigmund. Right? We get the mess, Capricorns. Okay, well, the Virgos aren't going to bitch about it because they're not allowed to. That's why. Not allowed to. Imagine a Virgo turning around inside, whining a little bit. Oh, you might as well turn right back around and keep marching. You're not allowed to. That's really a strong statement, but it's really true. And thank God we're going to have Virgos here for part 2 tonight. I've already thought about this. Well, the Virgos are going to be upset. They're going to have their rigid routines upset. They're going to have all this stuff in chaos, etc., etc. But the Virgos are the ones who slap their butt, slap that dust off, and get back up on that horse. Thank God for it. Now, let's get to Libras. The Libras are going to have a crazy time. But remember, they're a social sign and they're intellectuals. So they're merely going to shift one thing to the other. The big thing that's going to be hard for the Libras is trying to figure out what the hell has happened. And I see Linda smiling there. They're going to be sitting around actually dumb enough to try to figure out what happened. You want to know what happened? Ask Mark. Mark knows exactly what happened. He saw it coming for years. All right? But Libras, God love them, no matter what you do, they always try to find a social answer to something. That's their job. And thank God the 12 of us have 12 different jobs. The Libras are very likely to have shatterings and unpredictability in their relationships, and that's about as severe as you can get with Libra. Okay? Libras are very flexible sign, very smart, and boy, I've realized this the last 6 months, very street savvy. They can play the street savvy game. Okay. As with all fixed signs, I think Scorpio is going to have a hell of a time with it. Scorpio is opposite Taurus, and Scorpio is all about anchoring, but not to the earth, but anchoring to their partner. And how much you think you're going to be able to count on that when everything's going haywire crazy everywhere? So I think that they're very tough and they're not whiners either. And they'll gut it out. They'll be strong. But I think they're going to have a lot of chaos too. The trick, I think, with Scorpio, and I think this is very true for a lot of signs, but I think the real trick with Scorpio is they're going to have to realize that the problem in the relationship that they need to look at is themselves. Scorpio is very apt to blaming the other, You betrayed me. And they've really got to look at, are they over expecting too much? And they really got to look in the mirror. And that's not easy, but that's the toughest sign there is. This is the sign that can look in the mirror. They may not like what they see, and they might throw up, but they'll rebound. And they're tough. And the phoenix rises again. Just don't count them out. It's fascinating when you study each of these signs and the different sides to them. Sagittarius. Now, do you think Sagittarius is going to have a hard time with all this? I don't think so, because it's like Gemini, but bigger scale. I think they're going to have a tough time like all of us, inconvenient time, but they're very, very flexible, and they don't tell you this in the books, but they do when you interview hundreds of them. Sag knows how to take care of itself. It's not in the books, but you better believe me, this is one of the main things about Sag. They know how to get their needs met. And they're very, very, very flexible. And they want to go everywhere and try everything anyway. So I think they're going to put a Gemini on their arm and do a little bit of a hoedown and they'll be all right. The poor, poor Capricorn. Oh, Christ. The Capricorns are going to go through hell. You can already see it in some of the government officials that are Capricorns. Capricorn's all about putting one brick on top of the last brick, and was that brick solid? I'm not putting the next brick till those two bricks are solid cemented. Then comes the next brick. Well, that's real good in a finite world. But in this uncertain, unsteady, unpredictable time where you can't count on anything, what can you count on now? Can you count on the colleges? You sure as hell can't count on the government. Can you count on your Social Security? Can you count on your job? Can you count on your borders to your property and the water not rising? What? Nothing. And this drives Capricorn nuts. But Capricorn's ballsy. Ballsy, tough, and strong, and it's duty-bound, and it's responsible. So it sounds to me like they're getting the worst of the deal out of all 12. Because all this craziness is, why? Because ultimately, who decides on a new governmental structure? That is purely Capricorn job. Who decides on the new structure? Who decides on the parameters of the new Declaration, of the new Bill of Rights, the new Constitution 2.0? Who? We know 1.0 doesn't work. They beat that to hell. How are you going to, did you ever sit back and think what kind of structure would work? Part socialism, part capitalism, part communist. What? You know, socialism doesn't work. You know, capitalism doesn't work. We're going to have to come up with a new structure. We're going to have to work with the Libras and come up with something new, because the part one really worked for a long time until we got these shysters. Too many lawyers going to Yale. So Capricorns are going to have it really tough, but they're very strong. And they're not really whiners. And it's going to go to Capricorn. This whole talk we're going to do later comes down to these last three signs. Aquarius. Thank God we got Aquarians in this group. If they don't leave us, if they don't just get up and leave. Aquarians are going to be very upset by it because they're very fixed and they're very strong, but they have the protection of being aloof. That's a real big deal. They're not attached. But I have found out through a lot of exploration that Aquarians feel a lot more than people think. They're more emotional than people think. It's just that they're so intellectual that you take it for granted. So they're going to have their mental structure shaken up. And they're the one sign that's going to say, I'm not surprised by any of this. Because they saw it coming. Liza and I wrote about this in 05, 15 years ago. We saw it coming. We mapped it out. But still, when you're in it, it's a different story. You got to put your gloves on. You got to go wash your hands every 10 minutes. I mean, it's a different story. So Aquarians are going to be really valuable in part 2 of this. But it's not going to be easy on them. And one of the great things we have with them is what we had with Mr. Lincoln. They have a great, big social heart. They're universal. They're not thinking about their family. They're not thinking about their friend. They're thinking about them and everybody else. All of us. That's the level they think at. Thank God. Okay. The Pisces. Who in the hell knows what's going to happen with the Pisces? Who knows? Keep them away from the bar? Keep them away from the open windows? I mean, who knows? All I can say is I think they're going to have a very rough time. I think you're going to have to keep a close eye on your Pisces relatives. They can go anywhere from starting up a brand new, what's the thing in Africa that I was invited to? The Peace Corps. They could start a whole new damn Peace Corps in their backyard and fund the whole thing and cry the whole time they're doing it. You don't know what they're going to do. But their heart's in the right place. They love everybody, but you really can't depend on them. Now we're going to shift to part 2. Part 2 is now that we're in it, but we only really got our toe in this thing. And it's been interesting for me because I wrote about it for years. I wrote so many articles about Pluto, and I didn't know how it was going to come about or when. And by God, it just came. The pages kept unfolding, and we're in it. Now, what's that mean? That means we realize that we have screwed up. We realize it. And I mean planet-wide. We have screwed the Earth up. Bad. Now we've screwed up our children's path. We've screwed up our own potential health for now. Things are very tough. So what are you going to do? Okay. So when you look at an Aries, and we're going to start handing out jobs now, and you got to read the Exquisite Zodiac, because the Exquisite Zodiac will tell you very clearly what the real purpose is down deep for each sign. Each sign has a job. Okay, what is Aries going to be good for? Aries is going to be great for, let's just blaze a new trail. God darn it. Let's blaze a new trail. Give me room to swing my machete. You got Aries around you. They have to be out front. Have to be. Don't debate it. Put them up front and just go back. Okay? That's how it is. That's what their power is. Now, a lot of times they don't give enough thought to something. They just start swinging, and they're in the act of moving forward, and they feel like they're progressing, but they're not necessarily progressing towards something that's as wise as what an Aquarian might think. But you may choose you want to follow, maybe you choose you don't want to follow. But anyhow, they're really good ones to have in the group because they're not whiners. Get up and swing and let's get going. Brave. Brave. You know, one of the things Liza and I talked about the last couple of weeks, women are really attracted to Aries. Hello, Deborah. Women are really, really attracted to Aries men in general. And it's because they have the testosterone very strong. They often have a protruding forehead, a protruding nose. It's a masculine look. Oftentimes they get with the Aries for a long time and they realize maybe they're not as deep as they want. Sometimes it depends. But Aries men don't have much trouble gaining women. Taurus. Well, we're going to use you real good because you're the one that's going to build the stations. How did we Alan Eckert said that the American Indian was conquered 17 miles at a time. The American Indian was destroyed 17 miles per year. It took the white man 1 year to move 17 miles all the way to the Pacific Ocean. What did they do? They would move and build a fort. They would move, they'd build a fort. They'd move and build a fort. That's why Northwestern College is in Indiana. That doesn't seem like the Northwest, but back then it was the Northwest. Fort Wayne, this was the Western frontier. So that's what the Taurus is going to do. We're going to move so far and you're going to get us anchored. You're going to get us air, you're going to get us food. Just like replenishing the army, they can move. So you're going to be constantly needed and you're going to be constantly pissed off when we have to uproot and move some more. But that's what we're going to need. We're going to need the Tauruses to be tough and to be strong. I mean, the Civil War would have gone on a lot longer unless Lincoln hired 2 Tauruses, Sherman and Grant. He couldn't get the war over. He said, you two take over and do what you got to do because it ain't working. And boy, it was a bloodbath and it was a battle of attrition. You lose 3, we'll lose 2. You lose 3, we'll lose 2. It's like playing chess. Eventually, we got to Vicksburg and we broke through. So that's going to be the Taurus job. Help us get anchored, help us get to our resources, help get people fed, help finding ways to do it, but you're going to have to do it with mobile trucks instead of cement blocks. Because it's going to keep changing. And Liza's way ahead on this one. She told me this years ago. It's going to be grassroots and it's going to be small groups helping each other. You're already seeing it. You're already seeing it. You're going to be getting your groceries down the road. You're going to be getting your construction people down the road. Because the bigger systems are falling apart. Gemini, what are they going to do? Well, they're going to do what their strength is. They're going to find out the news and tell everybody. What's going on? I heard they're doing this over here. Hey, did you hear that? They're doing this here. Get on the phone, put this out, get on the internet. I mean, they're going to be information centers. I have a friend who's a physicist. He has kept in touch with 4 or 5 of his best friends from high school, and they're now in their 70s. And they're all Geminis. And all they do is exchange letters, information. Then the years came by, they started exchanging cassette tapes, talking to cassette tapes. Now they're doing it on the internet, doing it. They're just constantly, they're all physicists and philosophers and scientists and biologists, and they're just exchanging data. And you got to have that. They're your scouts out there looking. Now somebody's got to keep a grip on them, okay? You got to keep a grip on them, see where they're spending all our resources. But they're going to be very necessary. Writing articles about the local communities. They're going to be educating people. They're going to be teaching, coming up with options. Okay? So they're very, very valuable. This whole exercise, I realized, is really an excellent exercise in understanding zodiac. Cancer. My God, are they going to be valuable? Why? Because a whole lot of people are going to be upset. How are you going to calm them down without mama's chicken soup? You're going to have to the cancer's delivering the babies. The cancer's taking care of the people that don't feel well. They're not sure how you're doing it. They're not sure how you're leading the wagon train, what's going to do what, but they come and say, are you all right? Are you all right? Are you feeling okay? Really crucial. That's why the first 4 signs, Liza taught me this. The first 4 signs are so critical in that book. Aries with fire, Taurus with earth, Gemini with air, Cancer with water. These are the signs of the pure elements. Aries, give me some fire, here we go. Taurus, get out of my way, I'm digging a hole. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. I'm digging. Why? Because we're going to get anchored. Why? I don't know. We're going to get anchored. Right, Deborah? You're going to be glad once we're anchored. The wind's going to come up and you're not going to blow away. Gemini. Pure air. I'm thinking, you're thinking, we're talking. Did you hear what he thought? Exchange of ideas. That's why these signs are so elemental. Cancer. Water. Taking care of people, leading the hospitals with the Virgos, making sure people are okay, doing, this is a big deal, doing what they can to keep families together. Because if all this chaos that's coming is going to mess with your family structure, we're really in for a lot of trouble. So Cancer is going to be really, really critical. And I'm really enjoying myself here because I keep looking over at Linda, and Linda's got her social wheels going, and I can see them. And they're just going, she's the professor at the college, English, but she's got her wheels going as I'm constructing this new America 2.0, without the states. The idea of states are gone. We don't need states anymore. What's this idea of United States? All it does is cause us trouble. Get an abortion here, can't get one there. Get some beer here, can't get one there. It's just outmoded. So we got to bring that in and get rid of the states, just like the electoral college. Electoral college. That might be better. The electrical college. Just plug it in. Listen for it to start whirring. Okay, so you get past Cancer, and they got a really big job to do. And a really important job comes next with Leo. As we're going to be going through all these changes, we're going to be so dependent upon fixed fire. That's what Leo is. Oh, keep the spirit now. Keep the spirit. Keep your spirits up. That's Leo. Fixed fire. We're going to do it. Oh, God, don't take that one failure as deadly. We can do this. We can have one setback. Let's go. Fire is really, really, really important. Zest, spirit. And Leos are going to be really important for that. They'll be great leaders. And when some people start to falter, as we start to rebuild, the Leos are going to be really critical, I think. Also, I think they get a really bad rap in the zodiac as to how selfish they are, because I don't think they are. I think when you see Leos go through critical phases, they come up for the whole, they come up for the group. There's a lot of built-in Aquarius in Leo. Matter of fact, in your sign, whatever sign you are, you have a lot of the other sign opposite you. You just do. And that's why Leo has the group in them, because they're opposite Aquarius. So I think Leo is going to be very valuable, very valuable. It's really intriguing, this exercise, I think. Now, what are you going to do with all the Virgos running around, showing you all the 75 billion things that are broken? Well, all I know is you better listen. You better just listen, because they're going to tell you how to rebuild it. And yes, sir, let's go do it. We're going to put the Capricorns in the lead because they're the cardinal sign. That comes later. The Virgos are going to be the mechanics. They're going to be the designers. They're going to be the architects. They're going to be the constructors. They're going to be building the hospitals. They're going to be supplying people to the hospitals. And they're going to be working day and night. They've been working 25 hours a day. This way it's going to be, because they care. I don't think any sign cares more than Virgo. Maybe Pisces, if they're healthy. Virgos are going to be really critical. So, after the Virgos put in 75,000 job applications for all the things they're going to be doing, we're going to skip to that critical job, that critical jump over to Libra. What are the Libras going to be doing? The Libras are going to be trying to figure out a new way to socialize. And they're going to be considering things that we've already heard about from other star systems, such as, why don't we put all the babies in the village, let all the adults do whatever they want to do? People over 50 raise the kids. You come see the kids whenever you want. Kids can be with whomever they want. We all take care of each other. What do they take a village to raise the children? So the Libras are going to be thinking of this stuff, because the old-timey one-on-one wooing and dating ain't going to work. It's not going to work. And we're going to need partnership somehow, or group assistance somehow, but I don't think we're going to be able to go through the old-time Ozzie and Harriet stuff. I don't think it's going to be time. And these new systems, these ideas came from Neil Donald Walsh, actually, the ones I was just expressing, which are really pretty good ideas. See your kids when you want to see them. They see you if they want to see you. If they gravitate towards something else, fine. I mean, how many of us have kids because it's an extension of our ego, as opposed to the child themselves? Interesting thing to think about. So the Libras got their hands full. A whole new way of socializing. Boy, is that going to be. Keep them rubbing their chins. I'm going to end this on purpose around 9, so we can open this up for discussion, because I think it's going to be some hellacious stuff to think about. Okay, so we wave a wand, and the Libras have come up with a new way of socializing, and they use their tact, and they use their intelligence, and they're helping people to think, and we transcend into the sign of Scorpio, and now we really got some rubbing to do here. Now you're really talking about the relationships are critical, but what's Scorpio going to do with his need to be attached at the hip? How are you going to attach at the hip when the ground's shaking? How? It's not going to happen. So we're going to have to edge and nudge the Scorpios to their higher mentality, to their higher urges, their more pure urges, that they can join with the other, but it doesn't have to be on an emotionally needy level. That's the danger with Scorpio. So we're going to need their toughness and their strength and their courage, but they're going to have to engage their higher aspects. And if they're engaging their lower aspects, we're going to have to lock them up. That's simple. They're going to be locked up because they're just going to be too dangerous. You know, what do they say about Scorpios? You got the scorpion under the water. You got what is the second one? The eagle flies high. I forget what the second one is, but the ego is what we're talking about, is what we need. It's the higher dimension, the really pure power of Scorpio, which is they will get past their own inner weaknesses. Whatever their own inner weaknesses that's holding the system down, they'll eat it, they'll divert it, and they'll get past it. So, the lower dimensions, we're not going to be able to handle it. It's not going to be able to be involved because it's going to be too dangerous. So, you go into Sagittarius, the Phoenix, yeah, Erica, thank you. The Phoenix, because he rises high. He's kind of like the eagle. Sagittarius. Well, Sagittarius is going to be extremely valuable because this is your higher education. This is the one that's going to be comparing how the U.S. is falling to how Greece fell, to how Rome fell, to put these philosophies together to try to learn what the hell did we do? What should we do now? Because a lot of Americans now are just sitting back thinking this whole thing is going to heal. And I got news for you. We're still in phase 1 of this thing. They're messing with the numbers. We're still in phase one. The line is still going like this. It hasn't gone like this. The USA's line's still going like this. We're in phase one, and he's BSing everybody with his moon Neptune. He's lying, so he gets reelected. We're in phase one. Everybody wants to go back to the beach. Okay, you want to go to the beach? All right. Sagittarius is going to have to bring out its nobler side and not so much the fun side. It's going to have to be a cheerleader. That and Leo, two fire signs, going to have to be cheerleaders, but it's going to have to give to everybody its optimism, its sense of well-being that just rolls off their lips. It's a great thing to see, a Sag when they're really clicking. We're going to need a higher, what do we call it? The higher soul, the higher mind. There's different words for it. The higher side of Sagittarius, which is very noble. It's very cause-oriented. You saw this very beautifully exhibited with the Brit. Winston Churchill. I have to keep looking at her because I keep forgetting names. I keep losing names. I can't remember them anymore. Churchill. Churchill was perfect example of the Sag. And I saw a poll recently of the top 100 or 200 ever personalities or characters in British history. As far back as them, Churchill was number one. Pretty amazing. So we need their optimism. We need their faith, their cheerleading, their smarts, their breadth of vision, etc. Now we go into Capricorn. Capricorn's clearly going to have to lead the way. Okay, and Capricorn's smart enough that it knows it can't do it by itself. Why Capricorn? Because it's cardinal Earth, leader of the Earth, leader of the rebuilding structure. But it's going to do so by using its Libra piece, using its Virgo piece, using its Taurus piece, and blending them together in a very disciplined way. They're going to have to be the leaders. It's really that simple. Now, if anybody, it's actually right-hand man. If anybody had a right-hand man to the right of Capricorn in the zodiac is Aquarius. And I think it's going to be the most important energy of all. I think Aquarius will really be critical because they don't have to lead. They can if they have to. They're very forward-looking. They're very idealistic, but they think of the whole. They keep it in mind while they're doing what they're doing. They saw this coming. Why is it here? Once again, a reminder. Why is this stuff here? Why? Because we didn't share. I don't have to get up and orate about that. That's why it's here. Why we have lack of resources. Why we have one country calling the other country something. Separateness. So we're going to need the Aquarian brilliance, the Aquarian genius, the Aquarian intellect, and the Aquarian sense, which is really true, the sense of brotherhood. So that's the Aquarian job. And that's not really far off from what they do all the time. Aquarius is very underrated because they don't need the limelight. They don't need to brag. You have Aquarians in your life, you probably don't even know who they are. You just take them for granted. They're really very strong people. And very idealistic. And that's why Mr. Lincoln solved the whole damn thing by himself. Solved the union problem because of his one oath to keep the union together. And it killed him. It literally killed him. He knew he was going to die. I'm reading his life story now. Okay, you get the Pisces, and this is intriguing here. And then I do want to talk with all of you about your different ideas. Pisces is really, as I told you, that book, the original title was Pisces, the Ultimate Sign. Why is Pisces so important? It's because Pisces has the two gifts of the zodiac, the two gifts of the entire zodiac, and there's a lot of gifts. The two gifts that are more important than anything: faith and belief. Just like we're born with duty and responsibility, Pisces is born with faith and belief. They don't understand anything else. We're already one. What's the problem? Well, not a lot of people think that. Well, sure we are, don't you see? No, we don't see. So we're going to need that spiritual leadership, that solid, quiet, Dalai Lama type of quiet leadership that you get from Pisces. You're going to have to keep them out from behind the desk. They have to float free with what they do. They're just the artist. They're the artist. They're the inspiration. And we have to let them do it and keep some kind of a cord attached to them to bring them back in every now and then, because that's what they do. Do you remember in the book on the Pisces chapter? Oh my God, 300 years ago, I was dating a Pisces girl in college for a short period of time. And she said, can I come over to your apartment tonight and make you some spaghetti? She's talking to an Italian guy. Well, sure. Sure, you can come make me spaghetti. Yeah. So she comes over and we're having a pleasant time. She got the water boiling. She got the sauce on and all that. And she said to me, this is a true story. She said, I'm going to step outside for a minute. I said, okay. I saw her 3 months later. And I knew better than to raise hell with her. She went out and some wind just whooshed her away. She saw some puppy dog running down somewhere. And I said, that spaghetti was really good. But that's really a significant story because that's where they're at. They cannot be tied to anything. They can't be tied to anything. But their beauty is their faith and their belief. It's just don't put them in charge too much. Let the Capricorns and the Tauruses and the Virgos handle the day-to-day jobs. But anyhow, I did my job. I was managed to get this all done by 9. Now, one of the things I want to do, and we're going to save time at the end for a little surprise I have for you for 5 minutes with John Prine. But I would like to hear from you. Either it's a comment that you'd like to make or a question about what we're seeing. You people who are watching on YouTube, if you ever want to join us live, you can join us any Thursday night by going to starself.com/unplugged. Go to that link. It will load you up on Zoom and connect you to the room. It's 8 to 9 o'clock or 8 to 9:30 Eastern time every Thursday night. So, yeah, Sigmund, our resident. Oh, you're waving your hand for some reason.
Yeah, I'm going away.
Oh, you're going away. Okay, have a good evening.
Yeah,
See you later.
Too.
Blessings. Okay, anybody that would like to talk about your sign, what you think about how it's going to affect you, or what you think about your sign is going to contribute and how, and maybe what I said wasn't right. What do you think? We can start with Linda because I always pick on her, and she's the smartest one in the group anyway. So,
no, not in
on,
this
Linda. I'm just joking with you. Linda, what do you think?
Well, I think what you said about Libra was right. Now, I'm a Libra with a lot of Scorpio, so it's not a pure, my own take isn't a pure one on it. But one of the things that has occurred to me is that this event we're living through right now is, at least from my own point of view and from the point of view of people I talk to, is reorienting our values and making us rethink social organization, and I mean that in the broadest sense. How do we work? How do we relate as a family? How do we connect to friends? What's really important? you know, and and how, when we come to the other side of this, do we want to do things perhaps differently? And those are questions I'm thinking about every day. So
Well,
when you said that, it
if
really,
somebody came to you and your committee here, what kind of things would you, as a Libra, you're going to lean towards social change. What kind of things do you think you would be naturally giving to the group?
well, I think that one thing that things have to become more local and community oriented. My neighbor today, my neighbor's mother, she's a young doctor, and her mother and dad come over from Ohio once or twice a week because she lives by herself in this giant McMansion. That's a long story, but she fell last month in the middle of the night taking the dog out and injured herself very badly, and it took 45 minutes for an ambulance to come and get her. And the mother was there by herself with her lovely physician daughter who was badly injured, and she didn't know what to do. She didn't know where the hospitals. I mean, she didn't know where anything was because she doesn't live here. And I said to her, all you have to do is walk across the way, and I'm over here, and we need to exchange phone numbers. I said, because I don't care if it's 3:30 in the morning. You shouldn't be over here by yourself in an emergency. And too many of us are living like that now, where there's no one around us that we're connected to, and suburban organization is not going to help that, but we're going to have to find a way to transcend it, so that so that if we are locked, because I don't think this is the last virus we're going to see. I mean, I don't, unless we learn this lesson, and I don't see any sign that that's happening. We're not learning this lesson. So if this one doesn't teach us, then the next one will be worse.
Well, you know what? When you think about it as an astrologer, and you've been with me for a long time now, we did not know how the real Pluto stuff was going to manifest, and it sure has manifested through this virus. Thank God we're getting to the point where Pluto is going into Aquarius. What we need is Aquarius. We're going to get to this point here very soon where we're sick and tired of hearing about all this Capricorn stuff. And this institution's broke, and that institution's broke, and all that. We're just going to get sick of it. And we're going to have to start thinking along the lines of let's work together. And I think a Cancer country, I think we're learning that. We're learning that we can't just be concerned about our family unit. We got to interchange with the rest of the country. And I think there's going to be a lot of interplay between the Aquarius energy and the Libra energy in the future. It's going to be very good.
The thing I learned from teaching kids during this, and of course there are, of all different zodiac stripes and, various countries and places, but the one thing they all said to me at the end was, and one of them said it, I think, very well. She said, you kept telling us we're going to get through this. And she said, we needed to hear that every day. And I think that we have to tell each other that. I mean, there's the sadness of this is that people have been so separated from their loved ones to go into the hospital, or they're in the nursing home and they can't see them, or we're in our homes and we're not connecting, or we're connecting.
I will add to that, no doubt that you probably take it for granted, but you do come across with strong Scorpio stripes, which is not Libran. So your students do definitely benefit from your Libra qualities, but they're also picking up from you strength from that Scorpio part. When you say we're going to get through it, there's more strength to that than I think you may be aware of. I'm getting a note passed to me. This should be a good one. Let's see here. Can you read the post? Yeah, if I can find that. Yeah, I will do that. Thank you, Lynn. That's really good. But I think you're going to be a very busy woman. You're going to be working a lot with the Aquarians. Who else has got ideas of how their sign is involved in this? Come on, let's all step up.
I'd like to say about the Taurus.
We'll go ahead speaking. Sandy?
This is Sarah.
Sarah, I don't see you here.
Okay, here I am. Wait, let me turn okay, here I am.
Okay, dear. Yeah, go ahead with Taurus.
Yeah, like about how not liking the change and everything. Well, I have to change the whole way I work now. I've learned things in technology thanks to a friend who has helped me as far as working on Zoom that I never thought I'd be able to do. And this might not be very Taurus, but I'm thinking I no longer have the luxury of saying I can't do this. I sort of feel like I have to work in a different way, in a way that's very new to me, but I have no choice but to move on. Maybe,
You know what's caused that? Do you know what's caused that? Uranus is passing through Taurus.
oh, okay. Also, my moon's in Aquarius, and that
Oh
plays
yeah, that really helps too.
yeah, that's really important to me. But I'm not as I've been moved out of my comfort zone, but I'm not as uncomfortable with it as I thought I would be. Like I did a Zoom reading the other night that went very well, both in both respects, the left brain and right brain, and I'm teaching my class on Zoom, and I'm able to work it very well, which no one's more surprised than I am. But I'm thinking
You'll
it's
end up liking it very much.
Oh, I am starting to. I'm really starting to, and I never asked me 2 months ago, I would have said you were nuts.
Well, I use it every day and you can't beat it. And we've paid our dues, Sarah, so we're ready for it.
Yes,
What do you think about what I said about us moving forward, and then the Taurus is going to have to pitch a tent, and then we're going to pick up and go ahead. You're going to just have to help us as we move along, get re-anchored. I think that's very important.
and I think maybe that's what, now that I'm thinking of it, that's what my tarot class is about, because I'm relating it all to what's going on and maybe seeing the cards a little bit differently. But I have to say that the class that I listened to on yours a couple of weeks ago with Neptune and everything really kind of directed me in how I taught the class. And we're going through all these retrogrades. So I'm learning a lot about the astrological things that I never thought I'd learn about too, which is interesting because I'm taking things from everybody. I'm learning my own stuff and I'm doing it in that format. And I'm really enjoying it. It's just something new that I've never done
Well,
before.
that's
But
also Uranus going through Taurus. Yeah, I've noticed that with you, and it's very common with psychics and mediums. You guys pick up astrology very quickly because it's all archetypal. Thank you, Sarah. We'll move along now. Anybody else would like to uh, input their idea, your thoughts about this? Come on, Erica. You're really. I'll be with you in a second, Deborah. I'm picking on Erica at the moment. I'll tell you what, I'll go back to Erica. Let's go to Deborah now. I'm not with
Well, I don't have an idea. I just
Hmm.
had to laugh. I've laughed a couple times through the time that I've been with you. Um, about 2 hours before this presentation, I was scrubbing dirt out of my fingernails because I was in the dirt, digging, planting.
That's
And I just can't help myself. I can only go so long without getting into the soil. And I laughed even harder when you talked about Libras because I have the most lovely daughter. And when you said, how are they going to socialize? That just captures her explicitly. I mean, it's just amazing. And the Virgos fixing, I have many Virgos in my life. They've all been friends. And to just sort of characterize one of them, her favorite birthday gift was getting a Home Depot apron to wear when she does her work around the house. So she's
yeah.
always fixing things. All of them are.
That's just their nature. Thank
It,
God.
it really is. So that's all I was going to say.
Well, very good. Now, when you really look at the 12 of us, picture us all on Gilligan's Island, we'd probably make it, but we better have all 12.
I would plant food probably.
Good, and I will be eating it. Thank you very much, Deborah. Let's go to the ideas of Erica. Let me see if I can get you unmuted. Huh. It always gives me, go ahead. It always gives me a hard time. Go ahead. Your mic is out again. I had you earlier. Your mic went on us. Yeah, there's no sound. See what you can do. I'll move on and come back to you. Peggy, what do you think about all these Virgos? All these wonderful things I said about you Virgos.
Yeah, you're so nice. I, well, I'm at a point where I'm retired, so I'm not working. So what's happening with me is I'm looking inward and trying to heal myself because I'm older and I'm having problems. So I'm very, very much digging into alternative healing. And I'm with the Scorpio rising, I am so determined not to take any drugs or any of that. So I'm really delving because I think Pluto will reward me because I want to ride a horse and go kayaking again. That ain't happening right now. But the thing that I was thinking about, you're saying that we're going to be more of a tribe or a commune or like the village, but I think that people will start using their computers more because they've been forced to. And I think businesses are going to be seeing that some people can work at home and do their job just as effectively as when they were in the office. So I see that this is sort of pushing us that way, although they've said it for years, and become paperless. I have a friend, he's a boss in the state, and he has a bunch of people and they're not letting him come into the office or travel. He does all the paperwork and it's all paperless and he's involved in all the meetings. So a lot of folks I think are going to end up being that way. It's cheaper that way. You don't have to give them a space or anything. And the other thing is, if we ever get back to having music and being out in clubs and stuff, I think that people are going to really want to do that now. I think that you're going to see people that maybe you never saw before because they want to get out a little bit and enjoy that atmosphere that they gave up, for whatever reason. So just all those kind of things.
Very good ideas. Thank you, Peggy. Marcia Budd, what are you thinking up your way?
Oh, I'm so concerned with people who are hurting. There's a lot of people that are hurting emotionally and mentally now.
Yeah.
A lot of people are very lonely. A lot of people are very confused. A lot of people are hungry, and a lot of people are getting poorer. While other people are getting very rich.
Oh my God.
And it's at the total other end of infinity. And I'm concerned with going into Aquarius. How is Pluto going to help the smaller people who don't have what it takes?
Well, Pluto's not going to walk into Aquarius and everything's solved. I mean, just like Pluto was in Sag for 15 years before 2008, it's going to go into Aquarius, and we're going to have Aquarian crises also. And Aquarius has a dark side, and one of the dark sides of Aquarius is everybody running for what they want to go do by themselves. I don't know anybody anything. Just go off and do it. That's one of the problems, and we're going to have the Aquarian lessons. We're going to have to learn that helping the other is actually helping myself.
Right.
That's what Liza's taught me so much about. Helping the other is directly helping me. And that's not an American thought.
No.
It is in our little poetry, but it isn't in reality.
It's like wearing a mask.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Don't tell me what I have to do. Just put the mask on.
Mhm.
I read today where 60% of the people who are sick got it from somebody who had no symptoms.
And they weren't wearing a mask.
No mask. And what the hell does that tell you? Well, you're exactly right. And you can see in the Capricorn, Marcia, you can see in her demeanor this motherly sense of duty and responsibility to the zodiac. That's what Capricorn is. Dutiful and responsible. And we're going to have a lot of it fall on our shoulders. So I think we're really a good sign to direct activities. But we're going to have looser brains around us because our brains get too rigid. We're going to need the looser brains of Libra and Aquarius to help us, and Gemini and Sag. But I'm curious as to what you feel it's doing to your Capricorn nature now. Remember, you got a moon in Aquarius and you've got Sun opposite Uranus. So you're already very Uranian. But what is this doing to your world now?
Well, I feel like there's a lot of responsibilities I have to follow through with right now. And so I feel a little rigid with that.
Yeah.
So I'd like to work, hopefully, and relax that a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good.
And still do the responsibilities because I feel responsible to do them. But
well, thank God you got a lot of Sag, you got a lot of Aquarius, so it really helps you. Thank you very much. I want to go to Sandy, who I've spoken to you a million times by typing, but not on the air. It's nice to have you with us, Sandy. I know you're an Aries, right?
No.
Scorpio.
Right.
Scorpio. What do you think about what I said about Scorpio? Wait, I got to unmute you again. I'll get it. Hold on. Hold on.
All right.
Now go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. I relate to Aquarius rising and Pisces moon too. But I do have
Really big, yeah.
But I am Scorpio. Yes. Yeah. I finally figured out how to Zoom with all this stuff going on.
It's harder to Zoom if you're on a tablet. If you're on a PC, it's much easier.
I'm on my phone.
Oh, there you go. What do you think about what I said about your sign, Scorpio?
Yeah, I can relate to that. I'm trying to remember exactly what. Tell me again, what was it
I
you
was
said?
talking about we got to urge you guys to bring your higher nature out.
Right.
And not have you overly concerned with just a one-on-one relationship.
Yeah. No, I can definitely relate to that. It's a constant struggle for me to do that. I have no earth at all, and I'm always feel like I'm reaching, to be more grounded and more earthy, and I have to put effort into being to working on the higher self.
I can tell you from my experience that most Scorpios I know, as they get older, they just get better and better and better. Because this is the sign of all of them that can really be going down the wrong road and just suddenly change direction. They can do it. Remember now, I really give you a pearl of wisdom from that book.
Okay.
The key, you probably read the book. The key to Scorpio is being compassionate with yourself.
That's hard.
I know it's hard because it's not your nature. You're very tough on yourself, just like Virgo. But that's the secret. And if you can pull that off, boy, you can be the phoenix and rise again. Thank you. Good having you with us.
I am working on that right now. I mean, I am doing clearing exercises to learn to be more compassionate with myself.
Well, very good. And I'm glad you joined us tonight. Please come again.
Thank you.
I want to do two things now. As we wrap up, Eliza reminded me, I saw a post earlier today by a friend of mine. And just like all things Facebook, he's reposting something that this guy posted, that guy posted. So I'm going to read it to you, which is really wonderful. And then I want to play you a song by John Prine. Remember, June 11th coming up is the Reverend Greg Keene. So next week you'll be stuck with me again. And I think what I'm going to do next week is just read some charts, because that's what you constantly need. Seeing me read people's charts If you haven't had your chart read on the show, send me a message and with your data in it, and I will be glad to help you. Now let's get to the right screen here. All right. Let me get, oh, here it is. Okay. So I'm going to share the screen. It's this one on Facebook. And it's from somebody called Ganga White. I don't know where it came from. What if this sounds to me like the second verse of the song Imagine. What if our religion was each other? And if our practice was our life? And if prayer and our words? What if the temple was the earth? And if forests were our church? And if holy water were the rivers and the lakes and the ocean? And what if meditation was our relationships? And if the teacher was life? And if wisdom was self-knowledge? And if love was the center of our being? Which I thought was very nice. And I want to leave you with a song not written by John Prine. He seldom does other people's songs, but this beautiful song by R.B. Morris. And it's really appropriate for the time, and it has to do with the fall of the empire and what causes it. That's How Every Empire Falls by John Prine.
Or a train from Alexandria, just a broken man in a flight, running scared with all his devils, saying prayers all through the night. But mercy can't find him, not in the shadows where he crawls, forsaking all his better angels. That's how every empire falls. The bells ring out on Sunday morning like echoes from another time. All our innocence and yearning and sense of wonder left behind. Oh, gentle heart, remember, what was that story? Is it lost? For when religion loses vision, that's how every empire falls. He toast his wife and all his family, the providence he brought to bear. They raised their glasses in his honor, although this union they don't share. A man who lives among them, but still a stranger to them all. For when the heart is never open, that's how every empire falls. Lock the door and board the window. Put the people in the street. It's just my job. He says I'm sorry and draws a check, goes home to eat. But at night he tells his woman, I know I hide behind the laws. She says you're only taking orders. That's how every empire falls. A bitter wind blows through the country. A hard rain falls on the sea. If terror comes without a warning, there must be something we don't see. Well, fire begets this fire, like torches thrown into the straw. If no one asks, then no one answers. That's how every empire falls.
Everybody, take care of yourself. Love and blessings. See you next week.